Hey, do you like our program? Then please subscribe to our channel if you don't want to miss out our new videos. If you'd like to learn anything regarding interpersonal relationships, feel free to let us know. We'll try our best to answer your questions. In our previous episode, we talked about John Bowlby, the famous British psychologist from the 20th century. He concluded three main types of emotions a child would have facing relational strains. Do you still remember what they are? Now, let me guess. You're probably eager to find out why you tend to be so anxious and needy in your relationship. Or perhaps you're trying to understand why you're so remote in your relationships. Even though you actually care for your lover, you often act in the complete opposite. And beyond all these questions, what kind of behaviors lead to healthy relationships? Well, today's the view from the psychologist. Hi everyone, I'm Chen. Welcome back to MACHIEN on interpersonal relationship psychology. Today, we'll take a closer look at how our childhood interactions with our parents or attachment figures shape our attachment styles and our own love relationships. After John Bowlby proposed his theory about parents being the secure base of their kids, other members of the International Psychoanalytic Association went furious. They criticized his theory for not following the central beliefs laid down by Freud. Due to this backlash, John Bowlby no longer shared his views with this group of fellows, even though he was still a part of the association. Instead, he started publishing his works in other places, one of which he met the psychologist who helped push forward his attachment theory, Mary Ainsworth. Mary Ainsworth is an American developmental psychologist. Since the 1960s, she had been involved in John Bowlby's research projects. However, she wasn't in complete agreement with Bowlby's perspective at first, since she was also deeply influenced by Freud's theories. She believed that when a child relies on her own mother, it's simply because her mother satisfies her physical needs. There's really no such thing as attachment. But later on, we will see that Mary Ainsworth eventually accepted the attachment theory and even conducted a wide range of experiments on it. The turning point came when Mary Ainsworth traveled to Uganda with her husband, who accepted a job offer from a local social science research center. Her husband also helped her get the institution's funding to do her own research projects there. Initially, Ainsworth planned to reproduce Bowlby's separation experiment. That is, she planned to observe the relationship changes between parent and child when the toddler is sent to the hospital for weaning. Unfortunately, she had to give up this plan in the end, as she discovered the custom was obsolete. She then decided to observe parent and child interactions. Honestly, we ought to be thankful for this sudden change of plan, because this is how the adult's attachment theory began. So, Mary Ainsworth called in 26 Ugandan families who had toddlers at home to join the observational study. The age of her research subjects ranges from 1 to 24 months, which is 0 to 2 years old. The time for the study lasted over 9 months. Every 2 weeks, Ainsworth and her interpreter would visit the families and observe how the parents interact with their kids in their own living rooms. She wanted to know whether the parent-child interactions would be different when the mothers reacted differently to the child's signals. Ainsworth discovered that when mothers were more sensitive to the children's postures or facial expressions and gave consistent positive responses to their needs, their kids would become more securely attached to them. Over time, the child was also found to cry less. By the way, here's a little tip for all the mothers out there. When the mother is more engaged in the breastfeeding experience, her kid would notice and would feel a deeper sense of trust and attachment toward her. Eventually, Mary Ainsworth's Ghana project built the foundation for her attachment theory. When Mary Ainsworth traveled back to the US with her husband, she continued on with her parent-child research. However, this time she pushed her theories further and examined the attachment patterns of these adult parents instead. She started to investigate whether these adults were treating their kids as how their own parents treated them. After long years of research, she confirmed this hypothesis. If we put it in the words of John Bowlby, what this means is that everyone works out their own internal working model when they interact with their parents. This internal working model is like the Bible of interaction. It helps us decide when and how we should react or behave under different circumstances. So gradually, Ainsworth concluded 3 main attachment styles based on her findings. They are the secure attachment, anxious attachment, and the avoidant attachment. Today, let me briefly explain to you what they look like in a relationship. In our future videos, I will discuss about each one of them in detail. So let's begin with the only healthy form of interactive behaviors, the secure attachment style. In the strange situation experiment conducted by Mary Ainsworth, she discovered that a securely attached child would first seek for her mother's comfort when she enters a new environment. Once feeling comforted, the child would then begin her search of this place. She would also show signs of fear and discomfort when the mother left the playroom. However, once the mother came back into the room, she would immediately run to her mom for comfort and feel secure enough to explore the room again. Simply speaking, as long as the mother is close by, the child would have no difficulty playing and exploring in a strange environment. What about the kids with an anxious attachment style? The reason for this group of kids to be called anxiously attached is pretty obvious. Even though their mothers are with them in the new place, they still seem quite anxious. They wouldn't touch the toys in the playroom, and some were even unwilling to move one step away from their mothers. If their mothers happened to leave the room, they would go screaming and crying. Even if the mothers returned, it would not stop them from feeling anxious. What's more surprising was that these anxious kids would even kick or hit their moms as a way of protest once the mothers were back. The third attachment style is the avoidant attachment, which happens to be on the opposite side of the anxious attachment style. When they enter the new environment, they didn't seem to be afraid or anxious at all. Instead, they would even leave their moms behind and just start playing by themselves. They looked as if they don't need their moms. However, the heart rate sensors results show that the level of anxiety felt by this group of kids are actually higher than the anxious attachment ones. When the mothers left these kids on their own, the avoidant attachment children didn't even seem to notice, let alone care about their mothers. And even when their mothers were back, they still didn't move a bit. Sometimes, I wonder if this group of kids would be the ones that are kidnapped most easily. Well, that's my guess. I'll investigate into this and let you know if I find anything relevant. Okay, so these are the 3 attachment styles laid down by Mary Ainsworth. In fact, later attachment theorists also came up with the 4th attachment style, known as the disorganized attachment style. I will also discuss it with you in our future videos. Now that you have a basic understanding of these 3 attachment behaviors, do you find anything familiar to you? Do you see your dating self in one of these styles? And what about your partner? If you'd like to learn more about yourselves in a close relationship, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We update our videos in English every Friday night, Taipei Standard Time. So stay tuned for next time. Goodbye.